Hello, my name is John McCammon with Truth University and welcome. This will be the first class in the area of sports, and I've chosen basketball to begin with. As you can see, I'm wearing my Montverde Academy alumni t-shirt. I graduated from Montverde Academy in 1970, at which time I was co-captain of the basketball team. If you know anything about Montverde Academy or high school basketball, since then they've stepped up the game considerably. They won several national championships under Coach Boyle, who was Coach of the Decade, Team of the Decade, won the best season of the decade. So what he has accomplished has been phenomenal. Now it's true he had blue chip players, but he's playing other teams that have blue chip players. So what he has accomplished since he was hired in 2012 has been incredible. But on the same note, the coach back when I was coaching was John Paul Picklesheimer. Now you gotta love that name, John Paul Picklesheimer. I dedicate this video to him because he was taking raw talent. Some of the guys had never played basketball before, and many had played very little basketball like myself, and yet was able to win games. So this will be some of his techniques, and I've embellished on them some, and hopefully it'll help you in your quest to become a better basketball player. And this will be primarily from the position of a guard. Thank you. Now during the practices, we would use something that Coach Picklesheimer called a medicine ball. I thought that was a funny thing to call it, but sure enough, it is called a medicine ball. And so if you really want to improve the distance of your shot, especially for you three-point shooters, you need to learn about this medicine ball. So this is what our medicine ball looked like. It was a classic brown leather ball. It was about 12 inches round. It weighed about between 10 to 11 pounds. And at today's price, this one would cost you probably between $550 to $600. Now what we would do, we'd get into a circle of us guards and we'd pass this ball back and forth. Then when you go to your shooting drill, you have to do it. You won't believe the difference. When you get that little ball and the regular basketball, it feels so light. You can shoot. I guarantee you will improve the distance of your shot. You can get a medicine ball for about $25 and up on the internet or at a sporting goods store. I prefer the leather ball around 12 pounds to improve your grip. So some of the new ones are made of rubber and they're easy to grip, but that grip with the leather ball might be a little more slippery, and it improves your grip and your control of the ball. Next, I want to talk to you about your accuracy of your three-point shot. If you want to improve your accuracy, you need to work on your arc. Let me explain. If you shoot with little or no arc, the surface area of the rim that you're shooting is reduced considerably. So look at the rim, the surface area of the rim. You'll notice how small it is. And you compare that to if you use a higher arc. You have more of the surface area of the rim to make the basket. Trust me, you can improve your percentage, your accuracy with arc. How much arc? That's up to you. Some people like me, I shot real high. They call mine a rainbow, but you just have to find your comfort zone. But if you have to have some arc in order to improve accuracy. So next falls into the category of rebounding, and I'm going to talk about the position that you get into. It's called boxing out. This is especially important for guards that are on the short side of the height of players, but by boxing out you can actually make yourself taller and have more opportunities to get rebounds if you get the right position. So what I did is I studied people shooting. For instance, if a person shoots from 3-point land and they are using, now it depends on how much arc they're using, how far it's going to go. If they use little arc, it's probably going to go a lot further. If they use a lot of arc, it's going to go less. But the little blue area is where I believe that the percentage of the ball is going to hit there on the rebound. Now when it hits the rim and they miss, it's going to lose some of its momentum, say 40 to 60%. So that's so you want to be
inside or outside of the person that you're guarding against in this situation. Let it go over their head, and then you'll be able to control that blue area. Now, if the person's on the inside of you, between you and the basket, then you're going to have to loop around and try to get behind him, between him and the basket, in order to be sure to box out so you can control that blue area. Still looking at that 40 to 60% range. Now, what I have found is when someone's shooting from straight out from the basket, say at a 90-degree from the backboard, it's very difficult to anticipate where the rebound is going to land. But once a shooter shoots from approximately 45 degrees around to compared to the backboard, that's when you can more determine where the ball is going to land. Now, if it comes at an angle instead of straight on, it's going to be less than if it came straight on, so about 35 to 55%. Once again, you're still doing the same thing. If they're on the between you and the basket, you just box them out so you control that box. And then again, if they're between you and the basket, but they're in the box, you need to swing around and get behind them, between them and the basket, so you can control the majority of the box. And now let's talk about the bank shot, which is usually best at a 45-degree angle. And if it goes off the backboard, it's going to lose momentum. So now we're down about 25 to 45% away from the basket compared to how far out the person shot from. And again, if they're in between you and the basket, try to stay in between them, outside them, and keep them from getting in that box. Protect the box. Always protect the. So again, if they're in between you and the basket, swing behind them and try to control as much of the box as you can possibly control. And now we're talking also about the guard, and then we're going up against a shooting guard. Keep one hand up, one hand down. And what do I mean by that? This is especially important if the person you're guarding is taller than you are. If the person is right-handed, you need to keep your left hand down and your right hand up. That keeps them from dribbling around you. And but you're using your right hand. You can't face guard. You can't put your hand in their face, but you want to break their concentration, to break their vision between their eyes and the rim. Always keep your hand moving, or if you can, just try to keep it right where you think their eyes and the basket. If they can't see the basket, they can't make the shot. Just keep thinking about that. They can't see the basket, they can't make the shot. If they switch hands and they go to the left hand, then your right hand goes down and your left hand goes up. Always keep the down hand on the dribble hand side. And now let's take a moment to talk about improving endurance and speed. Now, Coach Picklesheimer, it was required, it was mandatory that all of us run cross country as well as track and field, and we did weightlifting. All of these things and sprints inside the gym, which we called suicides, which we go back and forth. The shuttle run, some people called it, when you would actually touch the lines or grab an eraser or something from the foul line, from the top of the key to the mid court. And go back and forth and try to improve your speed. Now, all of this has to do with endurance. You can win games with speed and endurance. Trust me. You can wear the other team out. You can out endurance them, out hustle them. So that's a real key to our team. Is we were always one of the best conditioned teams around. And as in all sports, the overall game can be improved with practice, practice, practice. And the less talented you are, the more practice you really need in order to get the advantage equal to or close to equal of those that have the raw talent. Sometimes people who have the raw talent have the tendency to be lazy because they know that they're good. But those of us that maybe aren't as athletic, or we have to work at it more, but we can improve, and you'll be surprised how good you can get, how much you can improve just with practice. Practice, practice, practice. You don't want to think about a shot, you just want to get in the zone. And with today's technology of cell phones and iPads and movie cameras, there's no excuse that you can observe yourself by videotaping yourself and have other people observe you and watch your technique. And you think you have a perfect shot, and then you look at yourself on the video, and there's always usually a room for improvement. Especially even games, have someone videotape the game and observe the game itself to see where you can improve, uh, both on offense and defense. I assure you that if you take all of these into account, the medicine ball to improve your distance, the arc and to improve your accuracy, the rebounding and boxing out to learn how to get rebounds, hand up, hand down to throw the guard off and to keep them from dribbling around you, improving your distance so you can out hustle the other team and wear them out. The overall game, practice, 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 and observe yourself. Now, some of these techniques that I talked about, especially on the rebounding, for instance, you got to understand and know the people that you're playing with. For instance, do they use a long arc? The longer arc, the less distance is going to go on the rebound if they miss. If they use less of an arc, it's probably going to go further. It just has more momentum. Do they use bank shots? Then it's going to be less. So know your players. And what's really good is have somebody chart your shots, chart everybody's shots. Where are most of the shots falling during the game? Where they shoot from, and where the shot fall, and then you can figure out your own little boxes for your particular players on your team, tailor-made. And then one last item I want to talk about is the psychological break their concentration.
I'd like to end this class with a major point, and that is the psychological. Now, there's when you're guarding someone, for instance, a point guard, and you want to throw the game off, try something out of the box. You try something. Don't say your mom wears combat boots and your mom was with my cousin last night. So things like that they've probably already heard. Think of something different. For instance, did you hear the joke about the hippopotamus in the tutu? Things like that will throw them off. Or don't tell anybody, but I'm wearing pink boxers. Just something to throw their game off. Now, the one thing that'll throw the game off more than anything else, a shooter, is to get them to thinking about odds and percentages. Odds and percentages. Once they do that, they lose their concentration. You see, basketball and most sports has to do with being in the zone. You get in the zone and things just happen. You just do it. You don't think about it. I'll give you an example. I was at Fort Wilderness campgrounds, and we had intramural sports. And before I got promoted, I was an hourly. We were playing the management team from Disney, and we at halftime. I got real hot in the first half. I did not miss. I was so confident in my shot that I could shoot, and I didn't even watch it go in. I just turned around and I started walking back to the other. Running back to the other end of the court with a smile on my face, and called me Smiley. That was my nickname. So at halftime, the management team called me over and said, "John, I bet you can't make it from this dash." Now the dash they're talking about was the timeline that you go over. So back then we didn't have 3-point lines. This would probably be a 4-point line. But this is from what I call downtown. So they challenged me to shoot from downtown, this dash, and so I did. I bounced it once and swished it. They couldn't believe it. I mean, those guys were taking the ball and throwing it up there, just trying to hit the rim from that distance. They were having a hard time even hitting the rim, let alone making it. And they said, okay. And so Keith Camback, the general manager for the campgrounds, was on this team. He's the one that was challenging me. He said, okay, I bet you double or nothing you can't make it again. So I bounced one time. This time I banked it. And they just went crazy. They couldn't believe I did it. So then he said, okay, I bet you double or nothing you can't do it again. That's when I should have stopped. Because they knew I could make it. I knew I could make it. But I started thinking about it. I started thinking, wow, the odds. I made 2 in a row in front of these guys. And now the chances of me making 3 in a row under with all the eyes on me and stuff, it's just, I started thinking about it. Once you think, many times you're lost. It's a game of reaction. It's a game of being in the zone, being a part of the game, just doing it. You've practiced and practiced and practiced. You know you can do it. Just go do it. Don't think about it. But if you get the other opponent to think about it, especially odds and percentages, you'll beat them. You get them off their game. So that's the last point that I want to make in this video, and I hope that you've gained some new knowledge, and this will help you become a better basketball player. And so thank you for listening. And now you know more of the story. Stay tuned. This is John McCamick with Truth University. Good day.